Think of the last time you did the thing you swore you wouldn't do again. Not because you didn't know better, you knew exactly what you were doing. Some part of you was watching the whole time, standing slightly to the side, seeing what was about to happen, and it happened anyway. Maybe it was the message you sent at midnight that you knew would only make things worse. The door slammed, the job quit, the relationship you started pulling apart the moment it got good. You did it anyway. And the worst part isn't the thing itself. The worst part is that you've been here before. The names change, the situation changes, the pattern doesn't. This is not a failure of willpower. It is not a character flaw. It is the shadow. And this week, we are done looking at how it appears in other people. We are looking at how it runs your life from the inside. Last week, we looked at projection, the way the shadow appears in others, the people who irritate you most, the people you put on pedestals, the shadow operating outward. But the shadow also operates inward. And when it does, it runs on a specific mechanism. The pattern. A pattern is not a coincidence. If you've had the same argument in 3 different relationships, you are not unlucky. If you keep reaching the same point in a project, a job, a creative life, and pulling back before it gets real, you are not confused about what you want. If good things make you uneasy, and you find subtle ways to not quite let them land, that is not random. Patterns are the shadow's signature. They are evidence that something underneath the level of conscious intention is directing the show. Jung called this something a complex. A complex is not the same as the shadow. The shadow is the whole of what you've pushed out of awareness. Every rejected trait, every buried emotion, everything the persona had to cut away. A complex is a specific piece of it. A tightly organized cluster of emotions, memories, and expectations, all wound around a single core. And that core is always a wound, a moment, or a series of moments where something happened that the psyche couldn't fully digest. A childhood where love was conditional on performance. A parent who left or who stayed but wasn't really there. A failure so early and so complete that something inside decided, never again. I will not need that. I will not want that. I will not be that vulnerable. Around that core, the complex builds. It gathers every similar experience, every related feeling, every situation that resembles the original closely enough. And over time, it develops something that functions almost like a personality. It has its own logic, its own emotional tone, its own agenda. This is why Jung said, complexes behave like splinter personalities. When a complex activates, you do not feel entirely like yourself. Something else is driving. Something that is you, built from your experience, shaped by your history, but not under your control. Here is the mechanism that matters. The complex does not activate randomly. It activates in response to a trigger, a present moment situation that resembles the original wound closely enough that the nervous system treats it as the same event. It does not matter that 20 years have passed. It does not matter that this is not your father, or your first love, or that classroom. When the pattern matches, the complex fires, and your response to what is happening now is actually a response to what happened then. This is what it means to say someone became a different person. You watch yourself say the thing you knew you shouldn't say. You make the move you saw coming and couldn't stop. The rational mind does not go offline. It narrows. The complex floods the available bandwidth. You can hear yourself. You just cannot stop. And afterward, the confusion, the shame, the resolve that feels absolutely real in the moment and breaks the next time the trigger fires. This is not weakness. This is a system doing exactly what it was built to do. Here is the part that changes how you see it. The complex is not trying to destroy you. It was built to protect you, to protect the wounded part that formed the core. And it keeps running the same pattern because it is still trying to resolve what happened then, to get this time a different outcome. Jung called this the repetition compulsion. You return to the scene of the wound, not consciously, not deliberately, because the complex is still trying to finish the story, still looking for the ending that never came. The person who keeps choosing emotionally unavailable partners is not self-destructive. They are running the original script, hoping this time the person will stay. The person who dismantles things the moment they get good is not afraid of success. The shadow is more familiar with the ache of loss than with the discomfort of being truly loved. And it steers toward the familiar because familiar, even when it hurts, feels survivable. So when you ask, why do I keep doing this? The answer is not weakness. The answer is, what did I not get? What did the original wound need and not receive? What has this pattern been trying to complete for all these years? That question is not comfortable, but it is precise, and precision is where change actually begins. Knowing this does not break the pattern. If understanding were enough, this video would be all you needed. What it does is create a gap, a small pause between the trigger and the response. And in that gap, which at first is a fraction of a second and slowly, with practice, widens, is where the real work lives. Becoming conscious of a complex does not mean understanding it intellectually. You can understand a complex completely and still be taken over by it an hour later. What it means is learning to feel it before it acts. The particular shift in your body before the words come. The narrowing, that specific quality of narrowing, that means the complex has just taken the wheel. When you can feel it before you act on it, not always, not yet, but sometimes, you have something you did not have before, a choice. Not a guaranteed better choice. Not immunity from the pattern, a choice. The complex does not disappear. The pattern does not dissolve because you've named it, but it begins to lose its automaticity. The thing that used to run without your consent starts to need your cooperation. And that is an entirely different situation. This is slow work, slower than most people want it to be. The pattern you have been running for 20 years will not stop because you watched a video, or read a book, or had an insight. The insight is not the end. It is the beginning of the beginning. The complex will fire again. The trigger will come again. The difference is what happens in the moment after, whether there is a gap, and what you do inside it. The shadow is not your enemy. It is the part of you that is still trying to heal something, still running the scene, hoping for a different ending. The work is not to suppress it, or to be ashamed of it, or to white-knuckle past it. The work is to finally give it what it has been looking for, to answer the original question, to complete the story. Next week, we go deeper into the territory the pattern is protecting. We look at the part of you that shapes every romantic relationship you have ever had. The inner figure that Jung called the anima, or the animus. The blueprint for love that you built long before you met anyone, and how it has been running your relationships ever since. This is the depth work.